Lost by 5 last night. And I think it took them like 12 to 14 minutes to realize they were just as good as that team. Please, I mean, don't start getting into this mode of, oh, it's Michigan State. Michigan State's good, but so's Penn State. And it took Penn State too long. They gave them too much respect for too long. Then all of a sudden they started realizing, I think, that, oh, wait a minute. We're just as good as they are. That's why they kept making runs at them. Michigan State's got Illinois this weekend. That's going to be very interesting. And the game is at Breslin. Is Michigan State playing with confidence? Yes. Was their confidence at times shaken last night by Penn State? Yes, because Penn State kept making runs at them. Penn State, again, though, had to play shorthanded. And this is an issue because you play Oregon. So you played, the last 2 teams you played are ranked in the top 12. Mm-hmm. And you lost them by a whopping grand total of 6 points. Well, you played one of them without Ace Baldwin.
Mm-hmm. Your best player.
One of the top 10 players in the conference. Okay. You get him back. The only day he practiced was Tuesday. Right? I had a feeling on Monday he was going to be able to go, but like Tuesday's the day he practiced. Yeah. Okay. He was gassed at the end of that game. And he had to play the game without Puff Johnson. Yeah. Now, we're going to find out it's Puff's right hand, wrist, whatever it is. We're going to find out how long-term, short-term that is. Not sure yet. And they're not practicing today. Today's an off day. But you had to play without him. Now you've got to change your rotations. Now you're, and some things that you've got to, it changes your communication on defense because he is your best communicator on defense. Mm-hmm. There's no getting around it. And it's one of those where, as a fan, you would never know that. I'm saying that with all due respect because when you're at the game, it's loud enough and you can't hear the players talk.
Yes.
When you're at practice and there's nobody around, you can hear who's doing the talking, and Puff's the one that does the talking.
And for anyone who's seen this Penn State team pressing off at full 90 feet, you see him at the top of it, and he's shouting everything out. He's pointing every direction. He's the one running the show.
Right.
I mean, and he's as good as they get.
I mean, he's like I said, as a fan of the game, you really would never really know that because of the noise in the arena. You can't hear, right? Unless you're really right on top of the court. Maybe you could. But when you're in a practice and the arena's empty, you know who does the talking. And that's a big difference. And so not having him really hurt along the way.
And you saw it yesterday in the rotations the players had, as you mentioned. Ace went full 40 minutes. Zach Hicks went 37, and DeMarco Dunn went 35. They played heavy minutes. But those two, along with Ace being back, were the bright spots. I mean, both went 4 for 7 from 3. DeMarco played lights out. Zach put up, all of his points in the last 5 minutes of the game and was just on a scorcher. Like, it was both of them impressed.
That's the best game I've seen DeMarco play in a while. And they needed DeMarco Dunn to play. And then all of a sudden, 4:42 to go in the game. Zach Hicks has no points. He's 0-3. He finally gets fouled, hits a couple of free throws, and then he bangs in 4 threes. You're like going, what the heck?
And none of them were straight up easy. A lot of them were over defenders, on angles, falling away slightly, and just everything swish. Just straight in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you're confident.
Right. So they score 85 again. They score. That's not the issue. We all know Mike has based a lot of this on defense, and they need to be a better defensive player, a better defensive team. There's no question about that. Yannick can't commit fouls 40 feet from the basket. I mean, I know you're trying to do something there, and he wasn't trying to steal it, but he got overzealous, and it's clearly a foul. I mean,
he hip-checked a defender.
Right. You can't do that, especially when you're shorthanded to begin with. Now you got to play the rest of the game without him.
He also shoved, I think it was Cooper or whichever of the big men it was from Michigan State after he missed a shot, shoved him in frustration, got his fourth or fifth foul at that point. It was like, oh, come on, Yannick. It was tough.
Now, here's a frustration for Mike, and this will be something I am going to bring up on the coaches show tonight. Penn State has had these tough, close losses. Okay, 1 point, 5 points, 6 points, right? Mike's career, games like that, he has a winning percentage that's like 72%. He loves coaching games in the final 6 minutes. I mean, relishes it, loves it, doesn't shy away from it, like embraces it, like enjoys it. And they've only won one of those. And that's going to be frustrating for him.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the other night, okay, let's take Oregon. The other evening, it was a 4 o'clock game. The other evening against Oregon. Again, this is where not having Ace. What happened on the final 4 possessions for Penn State? Or what didn't happen? There wasn't a single pass in the final 4 possessions. The person that got the ball took the shot.
Ball stuck.
In other words, got to get the ball hot. Ace makes the ball hot when he's out there.
And you could see it yesterday. That ball was flying as after the first 5-10 minutes. That ball was flying around. It was moving. There was movement. I mean, that's what led to DeMarco playing so well. As he was flying around everywhere, and Ace makes everyone better around him, and that's a positive. And they missed him against Oregon, and they missed him in the second half against Illinois. Yes, that game is very different because they lost by 39 points, but still, it would have helped to have Ace at his best.
Right. I mean, look, it's just sometimes you put a line through a game, and you're like, okay.
You throw the tape in a dumpster, you burn it, and you never let anyone see it ever again.
Now, Mike didn't. Mike showed them the tape. I mean, you know, as a coach, you certainly feel like there's an obligation to go through and like with teaching moments.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, there may not be any tougher stretches than this Penn State team had this past week.
We knew going in.
Yeah.
We knew once they got. We knew it was going to be that way. So let's put it this way. Now, Rutgers plays at Nebraska tonight. This is one where the Big Ten didn't do them any favors. But the scheduling thing with 18 schools is just difficult. I mean, Mick Cronin was talking about coming east to play Rutgers, Maryland. I mean, I get it. Ooh. Bob Uecker passed away.
Yeah. Bob Uecker, longtime voice of the Brewers.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute here. And so, I mean, look, the teams that go out west, we have to do it once. Right? The Illinois, I think Brian Barnhart was telling me he did the Citrus Bowl and it flew from there right to Seattle. And they played
Washington. And then
in fact, you know
Oregon.
What? He had to go to Portland because they play Oregon first and they blew them out. They blew Oregon. They blew them out. They blew like 116 to 77 or some nutty scores, like 39 points. And then they went to Seattle and they won a tight one over Washington. But I mean, the travel part is difficult for everybody. But Rutgers, they've got Nebraska tonight. But it's the 9 o'clock Eastern time game.
It's late.
Now, in all likelihood, they're probably going to fly back to Newark tonight when the game's over and get back early in the morning. Tomorrow's a wasted day. You probably have the day off anyway. Saturday they'll practice. Sunday they'll get on a bus. They'll play here Monday night. I mean, in that situation, advantage Penn State. Now, we'll see if it turns out to be an advantage because you're talking about Harper and Bailey, really good players. But, you know, I mean, that's, again, this stuff's hard. I mean, Penn State, when they go out to Iowa, they're just going to stay on the road. They're going to play Friday night at Iowa. So I think Bob's on that trip. All right, they're going to go. We're going to go out Thursday, play Friday night, the late game. I think it's the 9 p.m. game. Yeah, which is fine. I mean, right? Stay overnight, fly to Ypsilanti. Probably, I'm going to guess. On Saturday, practice there Sunday, play the game at Michigan on Monday night, then come back.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's had to do something like that to make this work.